Welcome to the Rob and Kale podcast. Rob Sanders.
Some would be entertained by it. Some would be horrified by
Kale Carolina Jackpot Hall.
All would be interested in it.
The Rob and Kale podcast.
Let's go.
Welcome into the Rob and Kale podcast. I'm Rob Sanders. Thanks for joining us this evening. We are going to talk about the state of the SEC East, where the teams actually are, how people, how you look at them as programs. We're going to get into that tonight. My co-host is the best damn Gamecock YouTuber on the planet. He is Mr. Carolina Jackpot, Kale Hall. Kale, what's up, buddy?
Not much. How's everybody doing this evening? Good to see you over in the comment section. Looking forward. Got a jam-packed show this evening.
We got some cool stuff we're going to get into, and we'll get to that shortly. Let's thank our sponsors first. Dennis Wilson from DNC Trucking and Transport we'll get to in a moment. But don't forget Callaway's Bar and Grill. Callaway'sBarandGrill.com. Retro video games, the best place to watch your favorite sporting events. Also, really, really great chicken wings. Callaway's Bar and Grill, Callaway'sBarandGrill.com. That, of course, is in West Columbia. Go and check that out. Highway 1 in West Columbia.
Diagonal from the Walmart.
Diagonal from the Walmart, exactly. All right, Jackpot. We also have DNC Trucking and Transport, Fireside Chats with Uncle Jackpot. By the way, shout out to Big Barney Ross. I'm sure he will be sending me something to read here momentarily, as he sent some money to help out the young folks that are trying to find Jesus in Tennessee. I'm not mocking. They're going to a Christian leadership conference in Tennessee, and it's some folks that our sponsor, Dennis Wilson, is trying to help. Big Barney Ross said, you know what? Let me send them some of this bourbon money. And that's what he did. And I will be reading something that he's going to come up with at some point. You know, we'll give him till the end of football season. So whatever you got there, Big Barney Ross, you send it my way, and I will read it as a thank you for helping out Dennis Wilson and the young folks from Swansea that are trying to get right with the Lord, I guess is the best way to put it. But tonight we have a fireside chat with Uncle Jackpot. Jackpot, read away.
Let's see what kind of crap you got. Sucks to be a Gamecock when the ceiling for your program is 8 wins and women's basketball is more important than football. You truly know that. Sucks to be a Gamecock. Go Tiger.
Message courtesy of Dennis Wilson, DNC Trucking and Transport. Thanks a lot.
That.
We appreciate you checking out the program, and sponsoring the program means a lot to us. Brock wants to know if it's flooding where I am. It's flooding in Lexington, which is not far from me. You know, it's been flooding in some spots, but it's kind of hit and miss, to be honest with you. I'm sure that 5 Points is flooded.
I bet some of those Gamecock lady basketballers could play special teams better than Antonio Williams. What you think? Bet they could catch the ball.
I think Don Staley is a better coach than Shane Beamer. You want to go there?
Yeah.
I didn't think so. Didn't think so.
I think so. That means she's a better coach than Dabo too, right? Since Shane Beamer beat him.
They can sit around and talk about national championships. Shane Beamer can't do that. Shane Beamer will probably never be able to do that.
Shane Beamer was part of national championship programs.
Was he a head coach? No,
Doesn't matter. He was part of the program.
Okay, that's fine. You can be part of a program, but that doesn't mean you're the head coach. You be a straight bitch on the sidelines and win a national championship ring. That's how Lane Kiffin got one.
Straight bitches on the sidelines are the ones who put in the work. They're the ones who put the cement between the building blocks.
Okay, well, under that logic, what do you think of the people that are on the sidelines for you?
On the sidelines for me.
Yeah, the ones that are putting in the work, your offensive and defensive coordinator. Because I can go back to November where you were talking about your defensive coordinator basically needing some of the wool pulled out from underneath his carpet.
And Never said I didn't.
Okay. But anyway, tonight, the state of the SEC East going into we're going to have the SEC East when division play is going to go away, Jack. I thought we'd take a snapshot at where these programs are right now. And as far as I took a window, I went back to 2010, and I pulled a couple of things, Jackpot, and I wanted to go over some of these. And it tells you where certain programs are as we head into the final season of SEC East play. The stats I'm going to give you.
This is the end of an era.
It is the end of an era, and that's why it's interesting to look at these things, and it tells you, it gives you a snapshot of where these programs actually are as far as what they've done since 2010. And so we've got overall record in conference, record in bowl games, even though bowl games don't matter. The number of active players they have in the NFL as of right now. And then this is where it gets interesting, Jackpot. I pulled the records of everyone in the East and then their records against the teams that they play in the East. So to give you an example, I think if we're rating teams, it's kind of hard to put Vanderbilt any higher than 7th. Vanderbilt's won 60 games, lost 98 overall, 24-81 in conference play, 2-3 in bowl games. They have 16 active players in the NFL as of right now. But here's the interesting thing with Vanderbilt. They have a losing record to everyone in the division, including a 2-10 mark to Georgia. South Carolina is perfect in this window since 2010 against Vanderbilt. I know that you guys had a hell of a streak, but you guys have owned the Commodores. I mean, hell, they have 12-0 in this set. 3-8 against Mizzou, 2-10 against Florida, 2-10 against Georgia, 5-7 against Kentucky. They've kind of played the Wildcats even. That's pretty interesting. But I mean, I think you and I both would agree they should be 7th, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the next team I have up on the list is the Kentucky Wildcats. When you look at it, Jackpot, they're only one game under 500 in that span from 2010. They are just an average across the board team. Would you agree?
They started off that what period of time you're talking about there is pretty mediocre team or below average. They've had some good seasons. They've had some 8, 9, 10 win seasons, right?
Right. Yeah, they have. I think
all over the place.
Yeah. They are 36-70 in conference games, 4-4 in bowl games. 31 active NFL players as of this morning. Where players are on rosters, etc. They're 7-5 against Vanderbilt, 8-5 against South Carolina. That's one of those anomalies, right? Would you agree?
I don't know. There's an anomaly. It's just, we don't play well against them as a rule.
Georgia has a 12-0 mark against them. That's interesting too. Mizzou, they're 7-4 against Mizzou, but 3-10 against Florida and 3-10 against Tennessee. They just don't play well against those two teams at all.
Well, no, Florida owned them for I don't know. They've beaten them one time since 1984 at one point. And I think Kentucky's won 2 of the last 3 against Florida, or 3 of the last 4, or something like that.
Right.
So yeah, no, they don't play particularly well against Tennessee most times either. Even when Tennessee has teams that are dog shit, Kentucky barely finds a way to beat them or loses to them.
Yeah, I think the year they won 10 games, they lost to Tennessee, and Tennessee wasn't really that good that year. Next up is Mizzou. Since 2010, they have 2 SEC East titles. They're 93-71 overall, 52-55 in conference play, 3-5 in bowl games, 22 active NFL players. Here's where it gets interesting. They have issues with Kentucky. They're 4-7. I didn't know that. And they're 8-3 against Vanderbilt, 6-5 against South Carolina, 5-6 against Florida, 1-10 against Georgia, and 5-6 against Tennessee. So I mean, they're kind of a middle of the road program, even though they've won 2 conference titles and they have a 22 game. They're 22 games over 500 overall. But Mizzou doesn't get a lot of respect because people just think, oh, to hell with it, they're Mizzou. But 22 games over 500 in that period, Jackpot. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, those are mostly non-conference wins, but their non-conference schedule's really soft most years.
They've got 52 conference wins in that time period. So 52 of the 93. So I mean, that's interesting to say the least. All right, so let's look at South Carolina. In addition to 1 SEC East title, the Gamecocks are 25 games over 500, 95-70, 51-55 in conference play. So essentially, about the same record that Mizzou has. In addition to that,
if we're going since 2010, how's Mizzou and South Carolina have? I mean, South Carolina definitely has to have more conference wins than Mizzou because you got
no. I just did conference wins, so it was with whatever conference they were in because it was only a year period there. So
okay,
6-4 in bowl games, 34. Did you know you had 34 active players in the NFL?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
In addition to Stephon Gilmore and all those guys. I mean, I didn't realize the Gamecocks had that many guys still on NFL rosters. So pretty interesting. The Gamecocks are 5-8 against Georgia. There are not very many teams that have that good of a record. We'll get to the Bulldogs in a minute. So that'll be interesting too. Let's see here. They also are 12-0 against Vanderbilt, 5-6 against Mizzou, 5-8 against Kentucky, 6-7 against Florida. I thought that for some reason, maybe my brain was kicked back a little bit, but the Gamecocks have essentially played the Gators even. So pretty interesting. And then 7-6 against Tennessee. Next up is the Florida Gators, 3 SEC East titles, 101-64 overall, 16 games over 500 in conference play, 61-45, 6-5 in bowl games, 52 active NFL players. They have a winning record against everyone in the East except for the Georgia Bulldogs, who they're 5-8 against. 7-6 against the Gamecocks, 6-5 against Mizzou, 10-3 against Kentucky, 10-2 against Vanderbilt, and 11-2 against Tennessee. When you look at that, Florida, you can make an argument you'd have to give them the number 2 overall spot, I would think, or close to it. The
a couple of bad years there too, though. So
yeah, they did. Tennessee didn't have a very good set there. They are 84-77 overall. 39-67 in conference play, 5-2 in bowl games, 36 active NFL players right now. They're 2-11 against Florida, 6-7 against the Gamecocks, 6-5 against Mizzou, 7-5 against Vanderbilt, 2-11 against Georgia, and 10-3 against the Kentucky Wildcats. You know, Tennessee's had a flat decade. That's kind of hard to just taken from this snapshot, it just hasn't been the best decade there for the Vols.
No, the previous decade was definitely much rosier.
Yeah.
So
now listen to this set for the Georgia Bulldogs. I didn't realize this. Some of the numbers are interesting. Over this period, they have 2 national titles, 7 SEC East titles, 2 SEC titles. They're 11-5 in bowl games. They currently have 62 active NFL players on the rosters as of right now. They're 137-39 overall, 81-24 in conference play. Their records against everyone, I mean, double digits in that time period against Tennessee, Mizzou, Kentucky, and Vanderbilt. The only teams that have played the Georgia Bulldogs tough are the Florida Gators. And I say tough, they're still 8-5 against them, and the South Carolina Gamecocks. I mean, when you really stop and just look at it, I thought it'd be kind of interesting to look at that stuff tonight, Jackpot. And if we just look at that time period, I think you go with Georgia at 1 and Florida at 2. If we were ranking them out, you can make an argument that South Carolina should be at number 3, right?
Yeah.
And it's not really.
I definitely say so. That overall record counts. Now, I mean, that was bolstered a lot by the 2011 through 13 seasons, but still, that was part of that decade you're talking about there. So,
yeah, I just think over the past, since 2010, and we can go back further if you want, but South Carolina has been the number 3 program in the East, and the numbers are right there. Now, Missouri could come at you and say, you know what? We've got 22. We got all these conference wins and everything else, and we've got the winning record against South Carolina. Why are we not in the mix? I think it's because I think Mizzou had, when I was looking at the numbers, they've had more losing seasons in that time period than South Carolina had as far as in conference play. But Mizzou can make an argument that they're right there too.
Yep, they definitely could.
So anyway, I just thought that was some interesting stuff this evening. Now, heading into the final season of SEC East play, the only teams that have not won a conference title or have not won a division title are Vanderbilt and Kentucky, if I remember correctly. I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think they're going to win one this year either. So neither one of them. So
Christian says, Jackpot, what do you think of no divisions next year? And Rob, what do you think of no divisions in the ACC? Well, I'm a little bit different on some of this stuff. I'm at the point now where I don't see the point in playing a conference title game. Why bother? Why send your team out there? Because it's all going to be, hey, we need to win, get in the CFP and all that stuff. Why damage your chance for one of your better teams to ding themselves before going out and playing in the CFP? But as far as divisions go, I mean, at this point, I like I don't like the way some of these games that we've had forever are going to go away. But that's also one of the things that we're just going to have to deal with. There's not much you can do about it,
I'm kind of glad to see them gone. You're in a particular conference. You should play all the teams in that conference on a regular basis.
Yeah, well, and what was it like? We can use South Carolina and Alabama as an example. I think up until 3 or 4 years ago, South Carolina had the way the schedule rotated. They didn't see Alabama for 12 years or something like that. It was some ridiculous number. So,
from 2010 and played them again in 2019.
But it was, it got to a point where, hey, maybe they should rotate onto the schedule. But I'm with you on that. I kind of like the idea of, everybody should play everybody, but keep that core set of rivalries there. But then, I don't know. Then they're pissing on it by bringing in, new teams that have no real allegiance to the conference. They're just there because they're whores. That's basically what they are. Texas and Oklahoma are just whores. They're just wanting to go over there and let the SEC fuck them for money so they can get into that section of the country. It's just the way that it is. Same thing with the teams from out west. They're going to play in the Big Ten. You're just whores. That's just what it is.
Oklahoma are adult film stars.
Yeah. I think Texas can be Dirk Diggler, and Oklahoma can be the chick from Debbie Does Dallas. There you
Dolph
go.
Ziggler.
Yeah, Dolph Diggler or Dirk Diggler or whatever from Boogie Nights.
Oh,
That's what I think. That's what I think that they are. Just whores. That's kind of a weird way of looking at it. All right, Jackpot. You want to bring some folks in here? Maybe they'd like to get into the mix here.
sure.
There in the comment section, if you would like to join the show. Of course, it's right there for you. If you want to talk about, I was going to give Big Barney Ross some shit because his Cincinnati Reds, who he said on this program, they were on track to lose 100 games. They won like 10 games straight. They're looking like
Reds in second place, I think.
Yeah, they didn't spend a tenth of what the New York Mets spent, and those assholes are going to finish third in the East.
Yeah,
So-
I was a little bit last night. I was a little bit perturbed because I saw the Atlanta Braves were on TBS against the Phillies, and I was like, "Oh, cool!" Because I don't watch the Braves anymore because I can't because it streams on some damn I don't know some service I don't have, and I'm not paying for it just for that. So those people are killing baseball, by the way, with that garbage. But anyway, yeah. And I clicked on it to watch it, and it says this program is not available in your area. The game is being played in Philadelphia. I mean, why? What the hell?
I that is one of the stupidest things ever, and that's something that MLB is going to have to get themselves and fix that. I mean, I don't understand. Like they black out games too. You shouldn't black out games at all. I mean, to be completely honest, what a mess that is. I mean, you should access that anywhere you go. It's a mess. All right, link is in the description here in the chat room if you want to get involved. There you
Your
go.
mic is breaking up.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I think that the link is right there. Brock's hilarious. Elijah, it's a comment about, let's see, what does Elijah say here? He says, you can say what you will about Heupel, Danny White, and Tennessee in general, but the University of Tennessee athletic programs are finally headed in the right direction, and that makes my heart happy. Well, good for you, sir. I'm glad.
It's always good to have a nice, healthy heart. You can
Yeah.
get that by eating enough fiber and all the other stuff too. But the Vols, the baseball team, making it the College World Series, that'll do it too.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, the link is in the description. Here's in the chat room if you want to get involved with the program. The year where the only thing that people are watching is making sure that nobody gets arrested. That's what the coaches are worried about at this point. Getting arrest records and recruiting. That's kind of where everybody's at right now, as far as the way things are going. You're just hoping that none of your guys leave the transfer portal and nobody gets arrested. It's kind of where we are. What
I saw with Florida's the seventh grader or whatever that they had committed that reclassified up a couple of classes. Now he committed to Ole Miss. Is that what's going on with that?
Yeah, so I don't know if it was that guy or I can't remember. Yeah, he did recommit or redesignate as far as his class goes, but then it's like, hey, I'm not going to go to Florida. I'm going to go to Ole Miss. Do you ever think we'd have a day where it's like, you know what? Big time quarterback says, I don't want to go to Florida. I'd rather go to Ole Piss. things change, right?
Well, I mean, he wants to be developed offensively, and I guess he feels like he can't get that at Florida. I mean, given their recent results, I mean, I can see why. I don't know how they're recruiting at the level they are right now. That's mind blowing to me.
Where it seems like Florida has jumped up and gotten some players there. They've moved up in the rankings, but you know, a lot of it comes back down to, and once again, there is a you got to wait until they sign. Right now, it really doesn't mean as much, but the Gators have made some moves there on the recruiting trail, and I think that, you know, Napier's been. I mean, I figured that he would recruit. I still have questions about whether or not the guy can coach or not. I mean, I don't think he's the best X's and O's guy, but once again, we shall see. We shall see.
No, I don't. I got some reservations about him.
Were you one of the guys, but when you were hoping that he would come to South Carolina? I mean, I know that the comrade was big on Napier ball and it's Billy Ball and all that shit.
Billy Ball.
Yeah, he was all, the comrade was all jacked up about that.
I think that it was just a thing that Will Muschamp was so terrible, and everyone was just so relieved to get rid of him and get a coaching search underway that we were just ready to we're ready to just drop our drawers for the first thing that walked through the door. And thank goodness.
Brock says hopefully none of our players at South Carolina sit in their car outside their girlfriend's apartment with a gun in their lap. Hey, if that happens, they got plenty of room for him down there at the University of Georgia. Jerry says Jackpot wanted Sonny Dykes. Did you want Sonny Dykes?
Who?
Jerry says you wanted Sonny Dykes. Did you want Sonny Dykes?
I don't think I even knew who that was at the time.
I don't think Jackpot knows who Sonny Dykes is now. I'm picking
I know Sonny Dykes is, you goof.
I know that, but I'm just saying I don't think I ever heard you say Sonny Dykes' name ever.
No, I don't think. Have you ever heard me even mention his name?
That's what I'm saying. I don't think that.
Yeah, I don't think it has ever left these lips, and it still hasn't.
Still hasn't. Let's see here. Christian says, as a Clemson fan, Rob, who are y'all losing to on the schedule beside Boston College that you usually play in the ACC? I don't think Clemson's losing to Boston College, sir. Slow down with all of that. I think that the game to watch on the Clemson schedule, as far as teams they're going to play that actually have some talent, the Notre Dame matchup, November the 4th. I mean, that should be interesting. I think they're going to blow Florida State out. I don't think Florida State is that good at all, in my opinion. I think that'll be the moment where, they have, like, ESPN has Decision Saturday and all that shit. I'm in the camp of they're just going to stomp on the teeth of the Seminoles, in my opinion. So
it could very well be that. It could very well be a what I call a little old Clemson finish, where they feel disrespected. We're mad because nobody respects us, so we're gonna step on their neck. It's happened before. You saw it a few years ago after you lost at home to Pitt. The next week they went out and had a little old Clemson performance against Wake Forest or somebody like that. So yeah, somebody's gonna feel the pain.
Christian says, I didn't say lose a game to Boston. I said, who are you losing on the schedule that you guys won't play? Oh, okay. Okay, I understand. Louisville is the other team that Clemson will not play. So there's that. I think that just looking at the Clemson schedule, it's like, I think it's Notre Dame, and then after Notre Dame, it's a steep drop off, in my opinion. So Yeah, we'll see how the season goes because things can change.
Well,
You
you have
really
the
don't
road
know.
game at NC State's always kind of tough.
Yeah, okay. So
Well, I mean, you lost the last time you went there, so I mean, yeah.
okay. So under that logic, we can say that going to Mizzou is tough, even though you're a much better team than Mizzou and you went up there and lost the last time you played there. Same theory, right?
I'm not trying to ruffle
I'm
your
not trying to ruffle
Jimmy.
your Jimmy.
I wasn't trying to ruffle your jimmies either. The Mizzou thing really pisses you off. Is it worse to lose to Mizzou or Kentucky in your opinion?
Kentucky.
Yeah. The Kentucky one really, I think it's because you guys have owned them for so long. And it was like, I remember like a couple of years when Spurrier was there, y'all won like one of the Connor Shaw years, you won like 55-3 or some ridiculous thing. And they were just happy to get out of there kicking a field goal or some shit.
Yeah.
And y'all just blew them the hell out. So
bent them over. I think that was Dylan Thompson that actually played in that game. I think Connor Shaw was injured.
You're probably right, but I mean, I can just remember like Kentucky was just an afterthought, and then they had that streak when they won like 5 in a row against you guys, and it was like, you know?
Yeah, that was terrible.
Just not very good at all. Kevin, has Kentucky ever won the East? No. 2 teams have not won the East in the SEC championship game. That would be the Vanderbilt Commodores and the Kentucky Wildcats. So there's that. Final season of the SEC East as we know it. Oh, man. All right, who's going to join us this evening? Link is in the description there if you'd like to get on the program. As always, you guys are always welcome to join in. We could talk about that. We could talk about we're like what, a month away from SEC Media Days and all that jackpot.
Yeah,
where the big part of talking season is about to hit us in the face. I mean, it's not that far off, you know.
Definitely not. Definitely is not. So what? 66 days away.
There you go. 66 days away, jackpot.
We have a lot of games. I was looking at some kind of breakdown this evening. There's a lot of games on that Thursday night, the 31st of August. Yeah. Nebraska and Minnesota. Nebraska, Minnesota. Actually got a little talks about Mizzou. You got a little Mizzou versus South Dakota. And then the big one that night is Sunbelt Billy taking the Gators on the road to play the Utah Utes.
That's on a Thursday night?
Yep.
Damn. That's one of the bigger games of the week right there, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So,
without question.
There's a section of folks that, as long as there's going to be people that are going to pick at Clemson regardless, but I do think it's interesting that there is it's one of those, I don't know how to put it. It's like it's a segment that's like, Clemson's got to open up at Duke. They're going to roll into Duke, and Duke could catch them sleeping. What a crock of shit that is. I think it'll be a close game because, first game of the season, etc. But Clemson's going to win that game by 12 to 14 points. Just crush the hearts of just about everyone. I don't see that as like, I don't know, what a mess. People just, they're so butthurt and they want Clemson to suck so bad.
Road against defending Military Bowl champs when they're returning most of their production and just take some cheap, easy victory. It just doesn't happen.
So we can put you on the record that Duke will cover. You want to go ahead and go on the record now?
What's the line in that game?
I don't know. I mean, you're confident. I'll take. I have no clue what it is, but I'll take Clemson to cover right now. Whatever it is, whatever the line ends. Just that confident.
I think Duke covers that. Yeah, I think Garrett Riley. I think the new high flying frisbees catching dogs offense. Receivers jumping out of tall buildings for Clemson to catch a pass. It's probably going to sputter a little bit in game one on the road, and it's got a loud environment. Um, you know, Pretty hostile crowd there. It's a hostile environment. Yeah,
So
yeah,
Duke is getting 12 points at home. The over-under is at 56, according to Action Network.
No, yeah, smart money says to lay that with the Blue Devils.
We'll have to see how that works out. I think games are won in the trenches, and Duke doesn't have it in the trenches. So
I mean, in the first half, I predict in the first half of that game at halftime, Clemson fans are going to be wondering if Brandon Streeter is still calling plays.
Man, you can hope against hope, right?
Just saying. I have a feeling that they're telling you going to be slow out of the fence.
Hey, can I was talking with Twisted Rooster the other day about this, and I wanted to throw it to you and see what you thought. Mr. Twisted Rooster the other day.
Yeah, I saw you. You did a show with him last night.
I did, and I was actually Monday, but he something that's been bugging me a little bit is I think we may have talked about this for a moment, but regardless of what you think of Spencer Rattler, it's kind of hard to sit here and think, all right, why is it that there's so many quarterbacks that people are just throwing all this great praise upon when he is the guy that returns in the East that's had the most yardage last season, only behind Will Rogers at Mississippi State. I mean, number 2 in the conference. You get all this quarterback talk around the conference, and everybody wants to tell you how great the Georgia quarterback is and how great the young man is at Tennessee. And I mean, all those guys, they're not a proven entity yet. I mean, Spencer Rattler's been through the SEC schedule and put up numbers. Second highest as far as yards coming into this season, but it's like no one gives a shit, Jackpot. Why no love for your quarterback?
I don't know. I think that they just looked at his results from early in the season, and he was just solely judged on that. It's fine.
All right, let's welcome. Let's see here, Christopher into the show. Christopher, what's up?
Hey, what's up, guys? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, go ahead.
So, if I was good at, say I did something, we'll say 11 times really bad, but I did something once really good, would you think I was really bad at that or really good at it?
Depends on what you're talking about. What are you getting at?
Let's say playing quarterback. Let's say I threw like a pick per game in the other 12 games, but I had one game where I was really, really good. Would you think I was a interception risk, or would you think I was a good quarterback?
I would think that if you're a returning quarterback and you're second in the SEC that everyone loves so much, you should get a little more love than
second. Yards. He's first in returning and interceptions, so we'll give him that.
Brett Favre threw 1,000 interceptions, and he's a Hall of Famer. What's your point?
Yeah, but he threw. I mean, if he threw, you have 12 interceptions and 17 touchdowns. That's not a good INT to TD rate. Period.
Okay, but I mean, do you not mean anything? I got you.
You think 17 TDs in 13 games is like some great rate?
No, I'm just saying as far as returning production, he should be getting a little more love than what he's getting.
I mean, he was like 13 All SEC, wasn't he? At preseason and like Lindy's and shit.
Well, but when they have the SEC media days next week, I'd be surprised if he finishes in the top 4.
Well, I think you got to understand why people are low on him, right? He's got to even after that great Tennessee game, he still threw a quarter of his picks after that game on the season.
I think it's because of the block C on his helmet. That's what I think.
People hyped up what's his name that was there 4 or 5 years ago that's a coach now, was what's his name's coach at Georgia, or is Connor Shaw. People was high on that kid. Luke Doty was getting love. Luke Doty got love and he didn't do anything. I think people know
on at media
Luke Doty was kind of in a bad situation. He was hurt off the get-go.
My thing with Spencer Rattler, and as a Tennessee fan, he lit us up. Jared Guantano lit Auburn up one time. It doesn't make him a good quarterback, though. The thing is they sat there and watched. Outside of early in his freshman year, his second year at Oklahoma, he threw 10 touchdowns. 5 of them were against Western Carolina. He threw 5 touchdowns. That's why he got benched. And now he's thrown 17 in 13 games along with 12 interceptions. Like, you got to understand why people are just like still in wait and see mode with him, right?
He has the intangibles that they're looking for, though.
Well, but Joe Milton does it.
When we having a conversation about him, Rob?
Rob said Rob was mad that Tennessee's quarterback got love, or Carson Beck's quarterback got love.
Look. First of all, we could put, I don't know, a preschooler in the offense up there in the gimmick offense, and they'll do fine. It's like Texas Tech. It's the way that it is. It doesn't matter.
It's like Texas Tech. What offense you talk about? The air raid?
Will you let me finish, sir? The disciples of Mike Leach and everything else, when you run stuff like
Garrett Riley, yeah, keep going.
Yeah, I don't know if Garrett Riley is a complete disciple of him, but
Garrett Riley runs the air raid. That's what they ran at TCU. That's what you're wanting him to run at Clemson.
It's not called the air raid, sir. Will you let me finish my point, sir? I'll be happy to go and listen to your podcast where you can sit there and talk about all the great Joe Milton stuff, and Tennessee's great, but let me finish my thought here. It wasn't about Milton that I was saying anything. I'm talking about the stuff with the Georgia quarterback where he's thrown for 370 yards in his career. And he was a blue chip prospect that couldn't get off the bench behind Stetson Bennett. You are so blinded by anything that I say. It has nothing to do with your quarterback. It had more to do with
you mentioned
more to do with
what are you talking about?
He has more time under center and more. I mean, he's made his bones compared to this guy from Georgia, but everything you see is talking about, man, this Georgia quarterback's going to be the greatest thing ever. That's the point I'm making. Stop being so sensitive, sir. You're terrible with this. And I'll tell you why. You know what? You had a great thing, man, where you guys had a great season, and you have to be told every day that you're still beautiful even after the season that you had. And
bro, you're meat riding a 13 interception quarterback, dude.
You've been kicked in the face so many times, and I understand that.
Vols are like an abused woman.
You're talking about us. You literally made a list today just to show Tennessee wasn't good before last year. That's the literal reason why you made that list, guy.
No, that is not why I made the list, sir. It was a snapshot of the entire conference. You're not that relevant, sir. It's the entire division. Stop thinking everything is about you. You're not special.
If there was a quarterback at Tennessee that did what Spencer Rattler did last year at Tennessee and had a great game against Florida or a great game against Auburn or somebody like that was a good 10-11 win team, but he sucked the other 13 games, you would not praise him. But you're praising Spencer Rattler because of your co-host and because of where you work radio. He is not a good quarterback. He was a good quarterback in one game.
That's preposterous.
First of all, a couple of things. First of all, I don't put anything out there to massage Cale's ego. Cale doesn't need my approval to pump up his team. All right? He doesn't need my approval at all.
He also we're putting all the eggs in that Tennessee basket. If you forget what he did at Clemson, he threw a pick.
He threw 2 picks in that game and one touchdown and 2 picks, dude.
Can't finish my goddamn thoughts.
2-pick boy, little 2-pick boy.
God Hang the phone on this motherfucker. I'm sick of getting on my goddamn nerves. I can't even finish my thought without listening to this fucking asshole. Do not let him back on the show again. He's done. He's banned from the show. He threw 2 picks at Clemson, still yet led that team from come from behind victory against a team that had not lost a game at home in 5 fucking years. That's pretty damn legit.
Once again, with Chris, he just thinks that everyone's out to get Tennessee. He has to be told he's beautiful all the time.
Well, it won't matter. I don't want him back on here anymore.
Okay, well, there you go.
Well, I mean, I can't even fucking talk without him having to run his damn trap. Everything's got to be about him. Me. And I'm tired of hearing it. I'm tired of hearing it. I can understand now why you hung up on the idiot so much. It's fucking annoying.
He is annoying.
I mean, that's the bullshit.
Yeah. Well, and it's not, it's the thing with him is that it's not a conversation. The way that he expects conversations to go is he gets to say all of these great things about Tennessee, and Tennessee's the best thing ever, and Joe Milton's going to win the Heisman, and Josh Heupel's the best coach in the history of time. If you don't believe that, then you're fucking stupid. That's the way that he goes. It's the way that he goes.
That thing is built on the damn house of cards.
Of course it is.
It's like a damn house of cards. It's going to fall apart soon enough.
I'm hoping that eventually the NCAA will hit them with sanctions, because the bullshit that they have and the bullshit that they've done, they should be, I mean, it's stupid. I mean, just stupid. But, you know, we shall see on that.
I think that's one of the reasons why, just a whole lot of people just don't like them, because they saw the things that they did, that they self-imposed, punished themselves with, and other fans of other teams look at that and say, you know, if that was my program, what would they do to us?
You know, he runs over there. Good luck with your D2 running back. You got 63 fucking points hung on you the last time you played against South Carolina. You should come with your hat in your fucking hand. It wasn't like
our Division II wide receiver did pretty well against Tennessee too, as I remember.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like you you went in and lost by a couple of touchdowns. You got mouth pumped. You got beat. They beat the shit out of you, and yet you're going to come in here and run your mouth against South Carolina. By the way, a team that, according to the records here, since like 2010, you're only one game over 500 against them. And they had Will Muschamp as a coach. Think about that for a minute.
That kind of throws something into the equation too. That's wow.
Yeah, 2-time SEC failure. That's what they had.
No TDs for Juice. Okay, never mind then. He played terribly in that game. I'm thinking about Clemson. I'm sorry. Same difference.
Yeah, Cocky Joe with a good point. He didn't have to score because every fucking body else did. 9 touchdowns. You gave up 9 touchdowns.
I want to tell the folks in the chat and the other folks who watch this and may watch this on replay, I apologize for my outburst a while ago.
Why are you apologizing?
That was just very rude. Not the part of where I told you to hang up on him, the part where I just kind of lost it a little bit for a minute or two.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Well, you shouldn't apologize for that. Fuck that. Pro Sports Debate's going to know, what's your thoughts on running back for this year? Yeah, and everybody agrees. Don't apologize. Don't apologize. F that dude. Thomas says it's understandable. The fucking Clemson fans are going to agree. Fuck off with all that shit.
Well, even he agrees.
Yeah.
Even he himself.
You're not apologizing.
I'm not apologizing.
Fuck you. I'm not apologizing. All right. Roll Tide says, not gonna lie, I got turned on a little bit, jackpot. And then Chris with another dumb comment. I can control your feelings. No, sir. The only thing you run is your mouth. You can't control anything. Just stop it.
It's not just you; it's anybody annoying that won't let you get a thought in edgewise, that won't let you finish your thought is annoying. And yes, that perturbs me. So it's not just you controlling my feelings; it's you and anyone like you.
Let me read Jerry's comment. Why won't you guys acknowledge Tennessee cleaned house of the violators? We've talked about that before.
Doesn't matter. They did. Congratulations. I mean, that's more of the what is it? The self-imposed penalties. We punish ourselves. It doesn't matter. I said this several months ago. I said if you got caught smoking in the bathroom at school and you come home and you're going to have to face the music, and you know that when your dad gets home from work, he's going to beat your ass with a belt. Would you rather your dad beat your ass with the belt, or would you rather self-impose your own belt whipping?
I'm going to respond to Jerry's comment here. Why punish the innocent? Sir, I'm not talking about the players that are there. I'm talking about the program and the fact that the university had those wins and everything else, and they still had one of the worst 10-year periods ever, and they were cheating, obviously, and got caught. You got in trouble, and when it comes to this stuff, you got to pay the price. It should be a one-year bowl ban, and probably a reduction in scholarships over a period of time is what it should be. It probably won't be, but that's what it should be if they were trying to send a message of, hey, what you did was wrong, shouldn't be that way. They should be with them the way that Mizzou was handled when they had the tutor that took tests for students, and then they ended up not going to a bowl game. I mean, you had to get rid of everyone on your football staff and your athletic director.
As if their shitty football product could not go to a bowl game itself.
Chris says that's punishing the new players. No, sir. You let those players, they can go and transfer with no penalty. They don't have to stay at a program that cheats and is known for cheating. You're not penalizing them. They can go somewhere else. Go somewhere else. There's plenty of places to go. Your punter decided he'd rather play at Memphis than your shit school. That happened.
Their punter transferred to Memphis.
The punter, when they made the coaching change, decided, you know what? I'd rather go finish my career at Memphis than to kick for this shitty school.
Wow.
So there's that. But they're a cheating ass program, and they should be held accountable for it. I do agree with the NCAA doesn't have a lot of credibility right now. And by the way, if you really want to, now I'm going to make it really for the Tennessee folks. Here's what you do. You do what North Carolina did when they put so many young men through their African-American studies program that have degrees from the University of North Carolina that cannot read. There's some guys that have that. And North Carolina looked at them and basically said, you know what? Yep, we did it. You say anything to me, we're going to sue. And the NCAA backed off. So maybe that's what Tennessee should do. Go to North Carolina, borrow their lawyers, and say, you know what? I'm going to sue if you try to do anything with us. That should be what you should do.
What was I? Geez, I can't remember what I was going to say.
I'm sorry.
Speaking of North Carolina and then talking about basketball and that, the NBA draft is coming up.
Yeah.
GG Jackson, you think it's a first round pick?
So I saw a mock draft yesterday that had GG Jackson going early in the second round to some team, but I also saw, I think it said Hunter Tyson was going too. I thought Hunter Tyson was coming back from Clemson, but GG Jackson he had the NBA body last year. So if he can get, coached up correctly, he might be fine. Who knows?
Yeah. I don't know. Somebody's going to get a steal there with him. He's the next Karl Malone.
Jackpot. He was a crybaby. Come on now. He pissed
What,
you
I mean,
off.
what is he the next Chris Paul?
Or is he a crybaby? He's gonna be like Karl Malone, where he was like, having sex with 14-year-olds, because Karl Malone did that.
Did he?
Is that what you do? Yeah.
Oh my God!
Karl Malone, like, had some affair with some 14-year-old or some ridiculous thing.
A 14-year-old? Are you serious?
Hold on, I'm not joking about this. Hold on, I'll tell you. We'll give you this story right now. Someone had to hear about this. Karl Malone. Well, I'm googling it right now. 14. There's like some crazy story about Karl Malone, and is that what it was? Yeah. Jazz Hall of Famer Karl Malone addresses backlash for impregnating a 13-year-old when he was 20. So he was.
Oh, yeah, I did hear about that when he was a kid.
He also didn't. He had a son and didn't do shit for him. Just basically like, yeah, I'm your dad, but you're not getting shit. That's basically boils down to.
Was that
So
the
what-
son that he had with the 13-year-old?
I don't know if it's that son or not. Hold on, let's see here. Hold on. Yeah. Bell had mentioned the former Jazz forward. Well, this is the kid, was not a part of his life. So, yeah. So the young man was, when he was at Louisiana Tech, he apparently got with the 13-year-old and had a kid, and then was like, "Yep, I'm going to the NBA, and I ain't giving you shit." I mean, even Zion Williamson is out there. He's at least paying for his kids. Karl Malone's like, nah, fuck all that. I'm going to Utah.
Who was that NBA player a few years ago that went on? He was out in Las Vegas and he went on like a week-long cocaine binge, and that went and
Well, that was Lamar.
found him in one of those brothels or something.
Lamar Odom.
Yeah.
He was like with one of the Kardashians and then ended up just gone.
Yeah.
That was a mess. What a mess.
Yeah, you get into you get in the NBA, you can go left in a hurry there.
All right, final call for calls here. If you want to join the program, everyone can get on the program, but Chris, because Jackpot has banned him. Oh, the puppy, Jackpot. What have you named that puppy?
Willie.
Okay, there you go. Jackpot's new animal. There you go with that. Anyway, yeah, I'm surprised you guys didn't know the Karl Malone story. Holy shit. Pete says Fulmer should do community service picking up trash on Highway 321 in front of his shitty sports complex. Huh. Okay.
Where is this?
I don't know. I don't know about all that.
Where the heck's Highway 321? That goes through South Carolina too.
It does.
Must go up
Jerry
into Tennessee also too. I think it runs through Winsboro. That's pretty shitty.
Where's Ziggy? Ziggy's there. I heard Ziggy earlier.
Ziggy went back to my bed and got in there. He got scared when I started yelling at Christian, Georgia.
Brock says Willie as in the girl from the Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Huh, interesting. All right, well, there you go with that. Sunday Jackpot, we'll be back at it. We'll have Bulldog says Jackpot got loud and the dog hid.
That's what happened.
The new puppy doesn't get upset, right?
No. Z was in her face barking at her tonight, like loud, and she was back barking at him. I mean, it was they kind of got some feelings out, and I think it was healthy. It was like a therapy session, shouting session.
All right, Jerry wants an UTS update.
It's making me tired.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know.
There you go. All right. Well, we've had a good show. You guys, appreciate you guys joining us here on the program, and we'll talk to you guys on Sunday. Thanks for checking us out.